Hello everyone, Corey Mitchell here with TradeThatSwing.com, and this is your swing trading stock market outlook for the week of September 30th. Each week just go through the same process, looking at overall conditions and how that's going to affect what I do in the market. Conditions do change throughout the week, even though this article and video is only updated once per week, so just be aware of that, and you can monitor all these things. They're available on TradingView, stock charts, these things that I look at, so shouldn't have any trouble setting them up yourself if you want to monitor them throughout the week. Market conditions are good, so I'm focused on long trades and willing to deploy capital. We'll look at why that is. A little clustered up here, but current watch list, you can check out the best swing trading stocks list for September. That will be updated in the next couple days. Basically a list of very strong stocks and very weak stocks. Current swing trading stocks watch list. This one was updated about a week ago, and it's patterns or setups that are currently forming, whereas this is just strong stocks, and you got to watch. It's a small list, usually about 20 on each list, and you're watching for setups in those. This is a list of looking at a much broader segment of stocks. Usually I'm scanning through about 200 or so that are relatively strong, and then looking for patterns and setups in those. That will also be updated a little later in the week. You also have these other ones you can check out. Let's get to some of these indices. So I look at several different indices just to give me a kind of broad scope of how the market's doing, since each one focuses on a bit different stocks. So we have the NASDAQ, a little more technology, the large caps, S&P 500, NASDAQ also large caps. NYSE Composite, a very broad array of stocks, and the Russell 2000, smaller capitalization stocks. All of them, at least right now, showing uptrending behavior. We have higher swing highs and higher swing lows. Higher swing highs, higher swing lows, higher swing highs, higher swing lows, and same thing in the S&P. Moving up recently, IWM, the Russell 2000, a little bit more of a pullback recently. Hasn't quite seen the strength that these other ones have, but still exhibiting that uptrending behavior at the moment. So overall, quite good. The Canadian index, same thing, really strong. So we got 5 indices here, all basically moving up in unison. That is good. Let's look at Bitcoin a little bit more zoomed out here. You can see this channel. I could extend it out, but you can see we're a little ways away from the top of that channel. So last week we had talked about these, just kind of working its way up. So you get these moves up, pullbacks, or consolidations, and then when it starts moving up, we get that an opportunity to get in. We had a nice consolidation here, started going up, and pretty much immediately failed today. So that's definitely different than a pullback like this where we get a nice strong move up. So to me, I'll be sitting out of this for a while until I see some strong movement. I always like entering after strong movement for whatever pattern I'm trading. Let's look at gold. Gold's still moving really well, and I just threw the zigzag on here. So yeah, strong move up. Mostly threw the zigzag on for the gold miners ETF. This is GDX, and you can see it's kind of moving up 16 to 20%, and then having this one pulled back 9%. This whole drop, I believe, was 14%. So this is showing anything over 5% moves and filtering out anything that's less. So it dropped 9%, had a little bounce, then dropped 11%. But from the top to the bottom, this was about 14%. And I believe this one was about 12% from the top to the bottom. So you kind of see this pattern of, it moves up 15 to 20%, and then it drops 9 to kind of 14%. So it's just kind of edging up, but at least it's still confirming it's still in an overall uptrend, upward channel, even though it's moving not quite with gold per se. Gold looking a little stronger in its last move up. But this is what we want, is the the miners to continue to increase. It's usually when the miners start to really roll over, we know we're on the last legs of the gold rally. Let's look at the market health indicators. This is the S&P 500 up here, and through the zigzag on, just to kind of show the percentages of the declines in here and the rallies that ensued. Volume not really important to me at the moment. This is the daily percentage movement of the S&P 500. Really low values are associated with uptrends. Big values are associated with choppy conditions, generally downtrending conditions. This was a choppy kind of end of a downward period, and you can see big drops, and then it gets a lot quieter when we have these uptrending periods. This was a move lower, but it stayed quiet, which tells us it's more likely to just be a pullback and not a big decline. This one got volatile in here for sure, but we have quieted down. We had a 2% down day, which is kind of the red flag for me, but that was right at the start of September. We have recovered from that price-wise, and we are seeing much lower volatility again, so that's good. That's exhibiting more bullish type behavior again. The advanced decline line, advancing stocks minus declining stocks, is a cumulative number, and it is just marching higher, and that is confirming the up move in stocks. We like to see that. When this starts to roll over, if the S&P 500 or something still going up and this is dropping, that's usually not a great sign, but they are moving up together, and you can even say this is leading, which indicates that the indices are doing good and healthy underneath. This is upside volume divided by total volume, and I'm just looking for extreme values, which mean most of the volume occurred in stocks moving to the upside, or if it's a really low value, most of the volume occurred in stocks moving to the downside. And that's this upper black line or this lower black line, and you can see we've just been in the middle for a long time. No extreme values to give us any information, so that's just a neutral nothing at the moment. This is the percentage of stocks above their 50-day moving average, a crude measure of how many stocks are in an uptrend. And 83% of S&P 500 stocks above their 50-day, 65% of US stocks above their 50-day. So really strong reading there. Most stocks in short-term uptrends. Generally going to be easier to make money on the long side when most stocks are moving up. So that's why I look at this. Sectors on the move. You can see over the last week, basic materials, communication services, consumer cyclicals doing quite well. So I threw those ones up there. They're also near the top over the last months. Consumer cyclicals, basic materials, communication services. And also industrials. Industrials near the middle here. Industrials near the middle here. And kind of near the top over the last 3 months. So that's kind of at the end. Real estate, a really strong performer over the last 3 months, but losing a little bit of ground over the last month and week compared to some other sectors. So those are kind of on the back end, but recently it seems like the basic materials, communication services, and consumer cyclicals are the ones that are heating up a little bit. Maybe technology could also look at, not quite as strong as some of these others, and still kind of middle of the pack on the monthly performance. But technology, always kind of a bigger moving sector anyway, so if that one starts to pick up, could maybe look there. But for right now, materials, communication services, consumer cyclical. Gold is included in basic materials. So what I'm doing right now, well, long trades in stocks. That includes potentially gold stocks. When I ran the scans, quite a few gold stocks making it onto the watch list. Bitcoin, not an ideal entry for me at the moment after that kind of weak little pop it made from that last consolidation. And there's always the option to day trade and swing trade. Day trade or passively invest. Those are other choices that basically I'm always kind of doing. I'm always passively investing, picking up some ETFs that I like just at regular intervals for the long term, not trading in and out of them, and then also day trading stocks, currencies, whichever one suits your fancy. So have a great trading week out there, and we will see you soon.